Hello. Good morning. Happy Thursday. It is Thursday, right? October 9th,
It is.
2025. Thursday all day. I'm a little under the weather. I'm Manila Chan. That over there is not Ted Rall. If you're joining us from Deprogram, you saw that Ted is at an undisclosed location. And I'm going to say he's about to hop on a hot air balloon and maybe a Chinese spy balloon
It's true.
fly across the U.S. It's true. That might be what he's doing. So in for him, of course, is producer Robby. You are still tuned in, though, to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short. You are still tuned in, though, to the Ted Manila Information Show, TMI Show for short, because we bring you too much information. We're live Monday through Friday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. So please be sure to hit that like, the follow, and the subscribe button. And of course, please share our stuff, our clips, any of those little shorts, or just share the program on your social media, because it goes a long way to help us get discovered as we come up. I think we just might have, I think we're coming up on our 1 year anniversary next week. Robby, I think it's official next week.
It is. It's next week. We've got this whole handoff thing put together. It's kind of weird. So whenever y'all see me kind of moving around here in the background, I'm kind of like a multitasking genius, because I had to move the deprogram stream from one computer, then move it over to the other computer, all while doing my day job. So if it looks like Manila's talking to herself while I'm kind of tweaking, I promise you I'm not on meth. I'm just
he's multitasking. And don't forget all the white supremacy hatred that you're cooking up in the background.
This is true. I've got plenty of that.
Thank
God for Rumble. That's all I've got to say, because I would get banned off of YouTube so fast.
Yeah, and you threatened us to get banned off of YouTube a couple of times.
Well, yeah, that's true. Wasn't my greatest moment.
There are some hot takes that Robby has. So on today's show, we're going to try to keep it short. I have a little bit of a sore throat, Robby. This never fails. We had my son's birthday party over the weekend, and it never fails year after year. I think being exposed to all those little rugrats always gets me sick. But this year, if it doesn't develop or devolve into viral meningitis like last year.
But did you have Haitian kids licking his cake this year like you did last year?
No.
So you're probably safe if you don't have migrants. If you don't have migrants licking your son's birthday cake, you're probably okay.
Or the pizza, or the whatever. It was the whole thing last year.
For sure.
So it was a whole thing, and so we did it outdoors this year for that reason. So I'm not given like my whole health issues from the previous year. We decided this year it'd be outside, and for us here in the DC Metro, it was like 80 degrees this past week. We had like a long Indian summer. I don't know if we're allowed to say that still, but that's what it's called.
Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back, Mila. The wife needs me. I'll be right back.
All right. So we did this outside at the park this year because of my catching viral meningitis last year. So we did this outside to avoid, circulating any nasty air and bugs from a bunch of first graders. So we did it outside, but even still, I've got like a sore throat. Anyway, so if I sound a little stuffy or have a hard time getting some words out, I think I think this is getting pretty bad. But on today's show, what we're going to discuss is, of course, the news on Gaza, this alleged peace deal that's happening. Another topic that I think nobody's talking about, Robby, nobody is that like 36 Christian worshipers were beheaded this week at one go.
Yeah.
And I don't think anybody's covering it because why would they? It happened to Black Christians in Africa. And we don't care about Africa.
Well, I don't care about Christians in general. I mean, Israel blows up churches. Israel shoots people who are worshiping in churches. I mean, the world, frankly, does not care when Christians get butchered.
That does, at least they mention it. But like when something like this happens and the Islamic State is taking responsibility, I'm shocked. I was watching network news all morning. Nobody mentioned it. Nobody. It just happened like in the past 48, 72 hours or so. And then we're not going to do all beheadings and death stories today. So if you thought that if you have travel plans that involve flying, and you thought the air traffic control, the furloughs, and all of that stuff, you thought that was going to ruin your flight plans, your vacation? I've got a couple of stories, back-to-back flight stories that are worth mentioning that I think, a little flight delay ain't got nothing on these stories. Because people have gotten crazy. I think it's a broader conversation about our society, Robby, and like we have no look, these are two different countries, New Zealand and the United States. But for me, what I see is this is like the end of Western civilization because people just can't control themselves in the West anymore. I don't know. It's not good. And I think you first see that decline when you're 30,000 feet up in the air. I don't know if it's the cabin pressure, the air pressure, or they're drunk, or I don't know. I don't know. But the worst of the worst stuff happens in airplanes. And we got two nasty stories for you.
We do. We want to keep things interesting. And so when we made the thumbnail this morning, eggplants represent something. Because I'm on YouTube, I can't tell y'all what it is.
Well, you guys know. You guys know what the eggplant emoji represents.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I'm sure most people do. If you don't if you don't know what it means, just do a quick Google search. You'll figure it out.
Because we can't say it. So we will use the term eggplant in
appendage.
lieu of
it's an appendage.
in lieu of the actual thing in the story. Because we will get censored by the YouTube censors. So with that.
Well, YouTube demonetized, deprogrammed last night, don't you?
Last night? Why?
Yeah. Because we did a episode last week talking about how Hamas won the war against Israel, and that got flagged as hate speech. So they gave the channel a strike to remove the video, demonetized
a full strike.
Yes.
Wow.
So from the bottom of my heart,
anti-Semitic.
Yeah. So from the bottom of my heart to the YouTube monitors who are watching this, by all means, fuck off.
Well, okay, I have my own personal gripes, obviously, because they're never giving me my personal channel back because look, Hamas, ISIS, Al-Qaeda, they all have their own channels on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not allowed to have my own personal channel.
It's because you're dangerous.
I'm a very dangerous little Asian lady.
You are.
You don't even
know. You have opinions. You have unauthorized opinions.
That's true. And a microphone. And that's dangerous.
It is.
So anyway, we'll leave that there. Let's get to all the I don't know, sad, gross, horrible news before we get to the fun, gross news.
Yeah.
First things first, got to talk about this Gaza peace deal. Israel and Hamas have apparently reached this deal for the release of the hostages, marking this breakthrough toward ending this 2-year onslaught in Gaza. I don't even feel like it's fair to call it a war because it's really just been a one-sided bombardment and onslaught. But
by definition, it's not a war. A war would involve a conflict between two nation states and two militaries. Palestine has neither one of those. So it's a genocide.
So after announcing that both sides had agreed to some sort of deal, President Trump said that the hostages that are still being held, and I guess they mean the alive ones, held by Hamas, are going to be released in the coming days. In exchange, Israel will withdraw troops to some agreed upon line. So kind of like a DMZ, I guess. I don't know what that line is or where, but quote, on his Truth Social, where else, he says, I am very proud to announce that Israel and Hamas have both signed off on the first phase of our peace plan. This means that all, and that's caps, all of the hostages will be released very soon, and Israel will withdraw their troops to an agreed upon line as the first steps toward a strong, durable, and everlasting peace. All parties will be treated fairly! Exclamation point. This is a great day for the Arab and Muslim world, Israel, all surrounding nations, and the United States of America. And we thank the mediators from Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey who worked with us to make this historic and unprecedented event happen. Blessed are the peacemakers. End quote. So during a Wednesday evening interview with Fox News with Sean Hannity, because, that's where he goes. I think Sean Hannity is like an unofficial advisor. Trump said that a council of peace, as he's calling it, will be created to oversee this post-war transition and reconstruction, I guess, into like a Dubai type looking place is what he's envisioned. He said, people are going to be taken care of. It's going to be a different world. I think really the Middle East came together. Now, on the hostages, Trump said he expects them to all be released sometime on Monday. He said it's a terrible situation there. The hostages are deep in the earth and they're being gotten. And a lot of things are happening right now as we speak. So much is happening to get the hostages freed. We think they'll all be coming back on Monday, and that'll include the bodies of the dead. Now, Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu responded to that news in a statement of his own, and he put that up on Telegram. He said, "A great day for Israel. I will convene the government tomorrow," which is today, "ratify the agreement, and bring all our precious hostages home," he said in an English translation from Hebrew. "I thank President Trump and his team from the bottom of my heart for their commitment to the sacred mission of freeing the hostages." Hamas also released a statement because everybody puts it on their social media. They said, "We highly appreciate the efforts of our brothers and mediators in Qatar, Egypt, and Turkey. We also value the efforts of the U.S. President Donald Trump aimed at ending the war completely and achieving a full withdrawal of the occupation from the Gaza Strip. We call on President Trump, the guarantor states of the agreement, and all Arab, Islamic, and international parties to compel the occupation government to fully implement its obligations under the agreement and to prevent it from evading or delaying the implementation of what has been agreed upon." After securing the hostage release deal with Israel and Hamas, Trump is talking to press, and he said, "It's a great day for the world. The world has come together on this one. Israel, every country has come together. This has been a fantastic day. This is a wonderful day, everybody." So it's a 20-point plan. And Robby, he was angling. They're doing the Nobel Prize stuff like this week, like, they trickle it out. I know he's been angling to try to get a Nobel Peace Prize. Is it going to happen because of this? I don't see it. I don't think so.
Well, a couple of things. Now we know what line it is that Trump is talking about that was agreed upon that the Israeli army would withdraw to. It's the borders of Gaza. Hamas just said that in their statement. That's the line. So we know what that is. As far as why this is able to happen, Bibi Netanyahu has no one to thank in the world except for himself. When he attacked Qatar, he made Trump look weak and like a fool. And Trump is an egomaniac. Those are two things you never do to him. And so that is exactly what happened. That is why Trump is forcing this issue.
Well, because as well as I do, and I think a lot of people that have really, really followed closely, is that Bibi Netanyahu would have loved for the hostages to stay hostages because it would give him the ability to continue the onslaught under that guise. He never wanted to end this war because he could have, if he wanted to get the hostages home a year ago, 2 years ago, he could have very easily negotiated, but he didn't want to because the objective was not to get them. The objective was to destroy and occupy not only the Gaza Strip, but move into the West Bank as well. And now that I think he wasn't expecting so much international blowback. Like, I think all of this has been a shock to him.
Let me see. Adrian says disagrees. Gaza's literally dust. No, I agree. I mean, listen, Gaza's destroyed. Gaza's destroyed, but you got to remember, politics, war is politics by another means. The entire objective was the creation of a Palestinian state. That's the goal. And so I'm not in Hamas. I'm not a member of Hamas. So this is just me looking from the outside in. If the objective was to create a Palestinian state, you won't be able to make that happen politically. So you go in, you punch Israel in the face in the hopes that Israel overreacts. That's what they did. And then they just kept it going. Basically what happened is that Israel went in too hard, too fast, and then weren't able to seal the deal. The Palestinians refused to leave. And so then Israel had to try to starve them in addition to bombing them. And they just were not going. They're like ticks on a mule. They're just stuck there. And so Israel's overreaction. Well, that's
the
exactly
result was they kind of showed their ass to the world.
100%.
Bibi showed his ass to the world. That's ultimately what happened.
Hamas's their goal was not to keep Palestinians from getting killed, and also was not to protect the cities. Their goal was to make Israel wash Gaza in blood, which is what they did, to the point where it was able to finally force bigger nations like France, Canada, other nations to step up and finally recognize a Palestinian state. This is politics through other means, in my opinion.
The argument on the flip side, though, the argument can also be made that Hamas sacrificed hundreds of thousands of its own Palestinian people for the cause.
For sure.
That argument is also valid.
Oh, for sure. I mean, that's the only way they could have done it. That's the only weapon they had was the PR war.
Right.
And so if you go in, if you know that your neighbor is a rabid dog, then what you do is that you punch a dog in the face and then turn him loose into a playground. If you want the dog put down, that's what you do.
Yeah, no matter what, I'll just say this, and it's not an Israeli thing, it's not a Palestinian thing. Hell, it's probably a lot of an American thing, because war is our business. Is that every country, every government, I should say, every government of any developed nation, and even some undeveloped nations, we are expendable. We, the citizens, the people, they will gladly have any of us die 100,000 times over to not relinquish power. Whoever it is, I don't care what country we're talking about. Mm-hmm. They will gladly wash the streets with our blood, with plain old Joe and Jane Schmo off the street, and your children and your grandmothers and grandfathers. They will gladly wash the street in civilian blood before they come to the table and give up power.
Yeah, of course.
It's not just a whole Bibi is evil thing, or Hamas is a terrorist group thing, or whatever. America is a terrorist cell itself in and of itself, right? A legitimized terrorist group. I mean, there's arguments to be made there too. But that bottom line, that's what all governments do. Is they will absolutely use, in one form or fashion, use whether it's official soldiers officially in uniform or civilians as human shields, and use the casualties as a bargaining chip.
Sure,
because that's all any country has, is its treasure is in the blood. So,
well, just some people are able to withstand more pain than others, right? I mean, Adrian's making a good point. Scott Ritter goes out to his grifting ass, and he says that the Palestinians just kicked the crap out of Israel. That is not true. Israel defeated itself, because you got to remember, Israel has a population of 9 million people with no natural resources, and its economy is completely dependent on trade with other nations. I mean, that's the model. So the way that you defeat Israel politically, which is all that the Palestinians could ever hope to do, would be by making Israel go completely insane, which is what they did. And so that's what happened. Israel overplayed its hand. It went too hard, too fast. You have people in the government saying that they want to make Gaza Jewish again, and that they want to take back the Judea and Samaria and make it all Jewish again. Never mind the fact that there's people who are there who are actively being shot and killed mind you, and the weapons that Israel was using to do this, for the most part, were not weapons that were made domestically in Israel because they can't make them. They're weapons that were given to them by the United States and Europe, and we're having economic problems of our own. And so people really start to ask questions, especially the younger generation, the Zoomer types. When I got to school, if your concern is you want to get married and have kids and get a house, but you can't because everything's so expensive, but we're able to actively fund a genocide on the other side of the world, it's a fair question to ask, what's in this for me? And if the answer is nothing because there's nothing in it for them, that's when you start getting that backlash. That's what's happened. That's why Netanyahu went on his little interview spree and was talking to people here in the United States about the need of taking back social media and of getting TikTok brought back into the Ziosphere, is because young people are asking questions. And that's the one thing you can never allow to have happen. And that's what's happening. And then Netanyahu, for whatever reason,
it's a different kind of loss.
Oh, for sure. Oh, yeah. But all war is always political, right? I mean, that's what it is. When Netanyahu, what sealed his fate is when he bombed Qatar. For the life of me, I don't understand why he did that. Because he needed Trump. Trump does not need him.
I know. Because he got too big for his britches. Going into Doha was a big mistake. It's one thing to fuck around in Syria. It's another thing to fuck around in Iran. It's a whole different state of play when you're entering Doha. Like, you get into Qatar, like it is not good. I mean, this on the heels of the Qatari government offering Trump a brand new Air Force One, like made of gold or whatever. Like,
right.
Did you not read into that, BB? Like, did you miss that memo? Like, I think there's some kind of relationship there. If they're offering Trump like a gold-plated Trump Force One, like, maybe think about that before you decide to bomb them.
No, I agree.
But, so that's where that one's at. So we'll see. Supposedly Trump might be making a surprise trip to Tel Aviv this weekend. I guess we'll see. But the hostage exchange is supposed to happen Monday.
Do you know what I think it is? And we'll move on to the next story. I think Trump realized that Bibi has been treating him like the manager of a 7-Eleven. And it pissed him off.
Trump like the manager of 7-Eleven?
Yes. Netanyahu is treating Trump like middle management, looking down on him. I mean, Tucker Carlson, when he went out on his podcast last week and said he knew for a fact from people who were in the room with Netanyahu, when Netanyahu was saying, I control Trump, I control Congress, they will do whatever I say. I guarantee you, Trump, that when he heard about that, he lost it, especially after Israel just decided to attack a major United States ally with the largest U.S. Air Force base on the planet. So then the Qataris ask, well, why do we have the security pact with you if your rabid little poodle over here can just come and bite us?
Right.
It's a fair question.
Yeah. And, so that's, like I said, after a little look, if you're like the little brother, right? And you have your big brother standing behind you, you're going to try to stand up to the kids at school and be, like beat your chest, right? Like,
sure.
Because you got your big brother behind you. But at some point, your big brother is going to be tired of standing behind you to kick everybody else's ass for you. So at some point, he's going to go, you know what? You're 16, you're 17, your ass should know better by now. Yep. Like have at it. This little clown, have at it. So I feel like at this point, Trump was like, I'm fuck it. Just fuck it. I think there's, based on that Tucker Carlson anecdotal information, it sounds like maybe Trump, who, like you said, in the Asian culture, wants big face, massive face, right? To hear that somebody else thought of him as some little peon is a no-go. No. Agreed. You do not, he's the one that does the firing. You're the apprentice. He's the one that hires and fires. to hear somebody talk shit on the boss, that was the end of it for him. So I think, he's still. We'll wait and see what
as someone who has
looks like.
As someone who has experience, as Manila knows firsthand.
Oh my God! Don't.
Someone who has talked shit to his boss from time to time. Even I know there's a line, and I had to do an employee engagement survey, and I sent it to Manila and said, "Here's my answers, Manila. Will you please just kind of polish this up for me before I send it off?"
Was painful.
And so she did, and that's the problem. Netanyahu needed a Manila to kind of finesse his message, and he didn't do that. He just went full Robby. He went scorched earth.
Except, Robby, your boss is not Donald Trump. So
no, my boss is a complete and utter tool and a walking hemorrhoid, but that's neither here nor there.
Shifting gears now. Look, I only have a little. I'll read the article, okay, Robby, from Newsweek, but I know you're going to have more to say about this than I do. I have very limited opinions on this, and it's mostly based on the U.S. hegemony versus, in the global South versus Russia.
Okay.
So, according to Newsweek, they say more than 30 Christians were beheaded in Mozambique, with churches and homes burnt down, according to this new report. The Islamic State Mozambique province, they have a bad acronym. They're ISMP, Islamic State Mozambique Province. An affiliate of the Islamic State has claimed responsibility for multiple attacks on Christian civilians in the northern part of the African country, often in the Cabo Delgado province, according to the Middle East Media Research Institute, MEMRI. This is their report that came out just a few days ago. ISMP released photos seen by MEMRI showing militants killing people, setting fire to churches and homes across several villages. Mozambique's president, Daniel Chapo, probably unrelated to El Chapo, said on Thursday that security in Cabo Delgado had improved thanks to the efforts of the national military, but that terrorism threats remained. The MEMRI report raises concerns that this is a wider issue affecting southern African nations, including Mozambique, with attacks continuing despite international efforts to counter extremism in the region. A church leader in Mozambique who goes by the pseudonym Pastor Mario for safety reasons, told another aid group, he said, "In Mozambique, we Christians are targets of much persecution. Many believers are raped, killed, several churches and houses destroyed." The U.S. State Department in June, when it issued an exercise increased caution travel advisory, I guess, the State Department always tells you don't go here, don't go there. So for Mozambique, it says exercise caution. Quote, terrorist groups in northern Mozambique continue to be active. So that's all they're telling Americans. Yeah. In its 2023 report about Mozambique, the State Department said the government needed to, quote, engage the religious community to effectively address the violence. Then it added, NGOs, news media outlets, analysts, and human rights organizations stated that attributing religious motives alone to terrorists operating in Cabo Delgado risked exacerbating existing socioeconomic grievances among historically marginalized majority Muslim populations and promoted misconceptions among security forces that hindered their relationships with local communities. So, Robby, the State Department, This is last year, so this is under Biden, or not last year, 2023. So this is like in the throes of mid-Biden. Tony Blinken's State Department basically issued their statement saying that, like, we need to be more DEI sensitive,
of course,
about Muslims.
You need to call your terrorists.
Because Robby, I don't know who Tony Blinken thought was in Mozambique other than other Africans who happen to be Black. I don't know who he thought, like, we need to be sensitive about, because he talks about, he says, grievances among historically marginalized majority Muslim population. Who's marginalized? Like they're Black Mozambique Africans. Some are Christian and some are Muslim. And that's all the State Department was willing to say about it. So here's my thing, right? So a lot of these African nations are former Dutch colonies, French colonies, European, let's just say Europeans writ large, right? There's some Spaniards, there's some Portuguese. So they are former Western. That's how Christianity got there, right? It was like the Portuguese or the Spaniards or the French or whoever,
well, that's not
the Dutch.
That's not entirely true. I mean, Christianity got to Africa before it got to Europe. So I mean,
Did it?
Yeah,
but in Mozambique,
well, you got. I mean, no one knows for sure, right? I mean, no.
Like the Ivory Coast is all French, for example, right? Like they speak French. Like it's a French colony or was a French colony. So what I think is actually happening here, and clearly the State Department has known that this has been like Islamic terrorism in Africa has been on the rise. And I know because I was still an active reporter with RT at the time following these stories for the last 10 years. No, longer than that. I came here when it was still the Obama administration. The Obama administration knew full well that Islamic terrorism was spreading across Africa, and it started up in the north, coming down through the Sahel, and then spread into central and eastern parts, coming down through the east to where it's almost in the south, headed towards South Africa now. That would be a major problem if it gets into South Africa, because that's still a strong U.S. ally. But all the other countries, because a lot of those countries were French colonies at one point, we know what's been happening with those former French colonies. They booted the French out. They said, we don't want you there. There's a lot of support for the Russians in those former French colonies that are mostly Catholic and Christian communities. And now in those same places where you saw the support for Russia, suddenly there's Islamic terror. Coincidence? I don't think so.
No, and I mean, a lot of people don't know this, but Russian media has reported on this. In a lot of those smaller African countries, the Wagner of Ukraine war fame, that they are down there actually doing work, hunting down and killing Islamists. So they're doing God's work with a broom. So much prayers to Wagner. Keep doing your job, fellas.
But like this, like why are we the only people talking with microphones about this kind of secret slaughter of Christians all around the world? Like, no one's reporting on this. And I know that oftentimes it's I mean, let's just be honest, most of the world could give two shits about what's happening in Africa because it's a poor Black continent, right? So they don't really care. But I actually did a special on this one too about how specifically African Christians are being persecuted. And that was two and a half years ago, I think, when I did that report. And still, it's never picked up traction. Nobody really cares because this is not going into a village and shooting it up like a mass shooting. This is a
slaughter.
This is disgusting. Like, they're going in there, they're gutting children, they're beheading people in front of them. It's disgusting. You guys can go look it up and you can see the images yourself. It is absolutely vile content. They're raising entire villages, burning babies in the cradle. Like, it's disgusting. Like from lower abdomen, gutting them up to their throats. It's vile. But news is not talking about it.
It's because they don't care. And from the Christian's perspective, which is what I am, I'm a fundamentalist Christian. I'm a creationist. I mean, this is no secret to anybody that watches the show often. It's a couple of things. One, In the New Testament, Jesus, before he was taken out to be crucified, he told Christians, people who follow him, he said, "You shall be persecuted." So there's not a might.
Yeah.
There's not a could be. It is a promise that God himself made. Is that if you pick up your cross, which is an instrument of pain and torture, and you follow me, you will be persecuted. So whenever you become a Christian, that's kind of baked in. Now, I'm not talking about your weak-kneed American evangelical big steeple few people churches. I'm talking about people who actually read the Bible and believe it. We understand that we are ordained by God to suffer persecution in this life. And for example, in the book of Revelation, it talks about how some of you are going to be martyred. A lot of you will be put in jail. It's just kind of baked in. Then if you go in and if you study history, like North Africa at one time was majority Christian. Now it's not. Why is that? It's because Islamic jihadists are going to do what Islamic jihadists do. They're going to butcher, they are going to slaughter, they are going to annihilate. That's why, you can have Saudi-funded mosques built here in the United States or in Europe, and there's no problem at all.
But Robby, could somebody make the argument though that like, how is this? Let's say this is like modern day Crusades, but in reverse with Muslims.
Well, the Crusades were a response to jihad. I mean, that's the point that I'm making, right? It's just, for example, I just want to point this out. And YouTube, you can get offended about this if you want. I really don't care. Muslims are safe to worship in Christian nations. Christians are not safe to worship in Islamic nations. I cannot go to Saudi Arabia and build a church, or I can't go to Turkey, which is supposedly a secular republic, and build a church and start proselytizing and start telling people the good news about Jesus Christ.
Well, I mean, they have churches though in Turkey.
But they do, but they're highly regulated, and also if someone converts, bad things tend to happen to converts. People don't talk about that, but that still happens.
Like in Syria under Bashar al-Assad, like Christians were protected, and that's the dangerous thing is having an Al-Qaeda head chopper as the new president.
Well, it's because he was secular, right? He wasn't a jihadist. Assad was supported by the Christians because he wasn't a jihadi. He didn't want to kill them. So I mean, that's the difference.
He was supported by all of the various religious groups, like literally everybody. He had like Muslim support, Christian support, Alawite support, and all these other random little. I don't even know if they're technically Christian sects, but any kind of religion. Those people all actually supported Bashar al-Assad because he made damn sure that they were not being harassed at their churches or places of worship, whether they're Jews, whatever they were, Buddhists.
It didn't matter.
Didn't matter. He had an iron fist when it came to fucking around with people's religion, and you were going to go to prison for the rest of your life if you say like burnt down a church, or you burnt down a Buddhist temple. Like you were going to get prosecuted.
Well, also Saddam Hussein, his prime minister was a Christian. People don't know this. Secular Muslim countries are not the problem. It's the fundamentalist ones that are. And you mentioned the Crusades earlier. Again, people need to learn the history. The whole reason the Crusades happened is that they were a response to 800 years of Islamic jihad. So North Africa used to be Christian. Now it's not. Spain, the Iberian Peninsula, that was a Christian kingdom. The Muslims captured it. The Muslims actually invaded France before they finally stopped that tour. Turkey at one time was Christian. The Balkans, like Albania, was all Christian.
Well, southern Spain is more country.
Yeah.
Like you can see it. You can see the influence there.
Of course, it's because they were invaded. I mean, no, Muslims, I think it was 80 years, I could be wrong, could have been 90, before the First Crusade, when Alexius Komnenos of Constantinople asked the Pope Gregory for help, the Muslims sacked Rome. Like they actually burned down St. Peter's Basilica. So to say that the Crusades happened just because Christians got a wild hair, wanted to go start just bitch slapping Muslims is incorrect. Spain was conquered. Southern Italy was conquered. Sicily was conquered. No, most of Anatolia was conquered. And the Byzantine emperor said, hey, listen, if we fall, then these hordes that we're fighting, they'll be knocking on your door next. So that's why the Crusades happened. And this is not a political rant. This is not a religious rant. This is this is a historical statement of fact. Islam has always been spread by the sword. Read the Quran. Read what it says. Muhammad, let's just unpack some things. I'm going to piss people off. I don't care. So the
don't get us canceled on YouTube.
So the Quran says that Muhammad was the greatest man that ever lived. Okay, fine. Let's look at his life. He married a 6-year-old kid, consummated the marriage when he was 9. That makes him a pedophile. He was a warlord. He was a slaver. He was a butcher who was responsible for the deaths of how many tens of thousands of people. But yet this is who their God pops up as the greatest man who ever lived. Contrast that with Jesus, who said, love your enemies, pray for your enemies. Who says, if someone slaps the cheek, give him the other one. Says, if a man doesn't have a cloak, you give him yours. So let's contrast this. And then you tell me which of the two religions is the more militant, which one is more dangerous, which one is more brutal. It's a statement. It's a simple question.
Well,
Islam.
And that's where Islam, the danger comes, especially when you find people like whoever the imam is for. And I imagine these groups like ISIS or whatever, the Islamic State. I imagine they have like imams for their various sect. I don't know, what would you call them? Chapters? I guess like a chapter. I don't know. I don't know how they call, their different sects, but I'm sure they have like a group imam, right? So if you find one that's particularly persuasive, that's how you convince all these young men to go blow themselves up, right? In whatever effort to whatever they say that the goal is, whatever that imam is, the effective leader or whatever is telling these young boys, they're boys really. And they've been groomed to do this. So then that becomes, that's how you get to where we're looking at Mozambique, where 30 people get beheaded.
Yeah. Of course.
Talking women and children too. We're not talking about fighting age men. We're talking about women and children, old people. Like that's, it was a horrible story. Like if anyone wants to look it up, you can look at the pictures.
It's terrible. It's absolutely terrible.
If you thought Charlie Kirk video was like nightmarish, like go look at this.
No,
look at this.
It's human sacrifice. Call it what it is. They were ritually killed for their false god. That is what this is. For Satan. There, I said it.
So I guess we're the only people on streaming, on TV, on anywhere that's talking about that story. So I advise you guys to look up like how personally, Robby, I don't have evidence of this, but just connecting the dots from having followed African Muslim on Christian terrorism for the past like 2.5 years, and not following it super closely, but enough that I've done a few stories on them over the last couple of years. I'm just connecting dots, but I have a lot of reason to feel that there are U.S. fingerprints involved in helping the Islamic terror groups in Africa get their fingers on money and weapons. There are certain American alphabet agencies that want Islamic terror to spread in Africa.
Of course. Well, the CIA supports the Mujahideen in Afghanistan.
This is what we do.
And this is one of the things that disgusts me the most about the church here in the United States. It's so politicized. It's so weak-kneed. They go out and every American politician just about is a Christian every 2 or 4 years. And they go out and say, oh, well, God commands us to support Israel. First, that's a lie. The Bible does not say that. And for Christians to look the other way whenever what happens to other Christians in Africa and Asia is disgusting. But then whenever Christians get on board and they actively support a genocidal state, which is what Israel is, because they've been sold this dispensational BS saying that until the third temple is built, then Jesus can't come back. It's disgusting. And so for those of you who think that I'm not going to punch out against my own people, let me tell you something. When it comes to Islamists, I understand that an Islamist is not my friend. I get it. I understand. But the people who I despise the most are the John Hagees and these so-called Christians who go up and lobby the American government to continue to support what's going on in the Middle East and continue to support the Antichrist state of Israel. Those are the people who I despise.
We're so going to get canceled. We're just so going to get canceled. Okay, we'll make that the last word on that. I got to check before we get to our airplane stories. Robby, do we have any words from any sponsors? Or are they pissed off at us for saying horrible things about religion?
We do. But I didn't say anything horrible. Listen, if stating facts is horrible, then sign me up.
Well, that's YouTube. That's not not me. I'm saying that's YouTube.
No, I get it. But if YouTube has a problem with historical fact, that's on them.
They do, though. But they
do.
do. That's the problem. Well, and then we get canceled because
fuck YouTube.
They say history is racist or whatever.
Math is racist too. And so I mean, listen, you
get that ad up there.
I'm working on it now.
No more religion talk for you.
Fine. Some have tried 1775 coffee. Now's your shot. The 1775 starter kit just dropped, only 1,000 units. You're getting the bold, dark roast that hits hard, the smooth, medium roast, and the Vitality Mushroom coffee for clean energy and laser focus, no crash. All single origin, small batch, toxin-free, and mold-free. Plus, you're also getting a gold tip clip because freedom isn't scooped with plastic, a frother strong enough to stir up your coffee and your mother-in-law's opinions, and a black 1775 tumbler. $170 worth of gear and coffee, yours for $99. This is for the ones who've been watching 1775 blow up on Rumble. Wonder if it's actually worth it? Spoiler, it is. Go to 1775coffee.com/studio and grab your starter kit before they're gone. Bold beans, clean fuel, and a morning routine that stands for something, just like Rumble does.
And
if I do get us canceled, I apologize in advance.
To our regulars nerd out there saying, Robby, you sure as hell going to get us canceled on YouTube. And Adrian says we should put up a Robby rant disclaimer, a warning. I probably need to put up a graphic before Robby starts speaking that I can put over his head where it just says like a blinking warning, like sensitive, whatever. I need to think. I think he's right. I think you need you need to walk around life, Robby, with a blinking disclaimer on you. Like,
well, listen,
warning, not for sensitive ears.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, right? I get it. Sometimes I come across as being blunt or being harsh or whatever. That's fine. If I hurt your feelings, I apologize. You can call me a racist. You can call me a bigot. You can call me whatever the hell it is that you want. The one thing you cannot call me, though, is a liar. So whenever I make an argument, what I encourage you to do, and I mean this sincerely, I like debate. I'm the first one to admit, hey, I'm wrong. Thank you for teaching me something else. If I'm wrong, please show me, educate me, show me where I'm wrong. That's all I ask.
Yes, leave comments in the videos, or you can even inbox us. I'm going to put up the.
I mean, call me a racist. I don't care what you call me. I care about being factually correct. Everything that I've said on this discussion about Islam is factually correct. It is an evil religion.
No. We're not saying nope. We're not going there. Not saying that because I wouldn't say it's all. You can't just book. Like there. You can say some Christianity. I'm not going to get into this.
And I agree.
Some Christianity is evil. You can say some Judaism is evil. You can say how like. There are some, believe it or not, some wacky versions of Buddhism that sound fucking evil. So it's weird shit. So you have complaints, questions, or whatever right there. TMI Show question at yahoo.com. And then we'll try to read it tomorrow on Friday, Mailbag Friday. So send it to us.
Lee, if I'm wrong, Lee, if I'm wrong, and I mean this, and I'm not picking on you. I like you. I think you're a good guy. If I'm wrong, Send us an email. Show me where I'm wrong. That's all I'm asking. Show me where I'm wrong.
Scary Girl says, just a few years ago, I saw very happy people in Damascus at a Christmas market. I think about those smiling faces a lot, how quickly things can change. Yeah, when American alphabet agencies get involved, they don't like smiling faces. Don't you? We know that. We don't want people happy. American alphabet agencies, they don't want that. They don't want happy. Get it? Okay. We got to switch gears.
Last I want to say, and then we'll switch gears. For those of you who are just kind of going ham on me right now, show me what Islamic country I can go into, or that a Christian missionary can go into and build a church today. One Islamic nation.
You can kind of do it in Dubai.
Not kind of. Listen, imams go to.
There are churches in Dubai. I live there. I know. So
no, I understand. No, I get it. I mean, the point is that they're regulated. You're allowed to go out and proselytize. Therefore, the foreign workers who they import because they don't think their people are strong enough to work. Fine, whatever. If I go to Saudi Arabia, which is a first world country, and as a Baptist missionary, and want to build a church, what would happen to me?
I don't know.
I would get killed. I would get killed or deported. And anyone who I won to Christianity, they would be executed for apostasy. Christians don't kill Christians for apostasy. Muslims do.
Christians don't kill Muslims, you mean?
No, if you're a Christian and you leave this, if you leave the faith, so no, I was raised a Christian and I don't believe this anymore. I'm going to be an atheist. I'm going to convert to another religion, whatever. In your case, you almost became a Jew because you wanted to marry that little short dude. A Christian would not have gone and killed you and put your head on a spike.
No, that's true.
In Muslim nations, it is the death penalty to leave the faith. Again, show me where I'm wrong.
I'd have to look into it. I haven't thought about that part, but at any rate, we're gonna end today with a couple of airplane stories that are funny but gross. Okay, so I'm gonna say this is a tale of two Western countries, two very different legal outcomes for these two people, but I'm gonna say the end result is a depiction of what is happening with Western society and how we've gone too far that people just think they can behave however they want, right?
They're crazy.
Yeah. So, okay, first let's go to way down under to New Zealand. A New Zealand man was sentenced after being arrested for, and this is a quote from his charging documents, arrested for excessively kissing and fondling his partner, girlfriend, presumably. I don't know their relationship status, on a flight. On September 29th, 30-year-old Reuben Jeremy Finn appeared in Nelson District Court, where he was sentenced to 6 months of community detention and 12 months of intensive supervision, according to local media. The sentence came after he and his 32-year-old partner, Bronte LeLever, and I learned that Bronte is a female name. They were arrested while flying between Auckland and Nelson on November 13th of last year. While on the domestic flight alongside 48 other passengers and 2 flight attendants, Finn and LeLever were repeatedly asked to stop intense public displays of affection, which flight attendants said were making others uncomfortable. After being asked to stop once, Finn placed his hand inside LeLever's bra. The couple reportedly pretended to be asleep when they were approached again by a flight attendant. They were later arrested and both admitted to the charges. The duo then charged with performing an indecent act in public space. While in court, Finn was concurrently charged with 2 counts of shoplifting, theft at a dwelling, and possession of methamphetamine utensils. So not the meth, but like the stuff you would use to use meth. He appeared in front of Judge Gary Barkle, who said that the couple caused, quote, much embarrassment and discomfort via their actions. The judge noted that Finn had 21 previous convictions, which he had accrued from 2016 to 2024. Now, community detention is what they call over there in New Zealand, comparable to curfew, and requires the offender to remain at an approved residence at certain times specified by the court. So it's basically like the equivalent of Americans being under house arrest, right?
Gotcha.
So kind of like that. Finn's conviction will leave him confined at home between 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. local time. So I guess from dusk till dawn, he's can't leave the house. The department noted that intensive supervision is a type of community-based rehabilitation sentence. Intensive supervision is imposed if the court deems that a sentence of intensive supervision would reduce the likelihood of someone offending again by supporting their rehabilitation needs and reintegration back into the community. In court, Finn's lawyer noted that he struggled with addiction and was described as appearing quite high by the flight attendants at the time of his arrest. Finn also reportedly had a significant struggle with gambling. Miss Lelever will return to court for her sentencing next month. Okay, so these people were like gross and grabbing boobs and like just all over each other on the flight. That's how New Zealand dealt with it. He gets to be on home arrest. I don't know what kind of counseling, like, I don't know what that's supposed to do. Like, he's supposed to learn to not be a horn dog, get a room. Like, what?
All I can say,
I don't know what to make of that one.
Her boyfriend, his girlfriend has got terrible taste in men. I mean,
Well,
that's the problem. I mean, what would be attractive about a guy like that? Serious question.
Apparently, with
Why would a woman
21
want to?
priors, 21 priors from the span of 2016 to 24. 8 years.
Yeah,
21 priors in 8 years.
That just goes to show she is a moron and she should be excluded from the political process. She should never be allowed to vote again.
I don't know what the laws are in New Zealand, but it just seems kind of weird to me that you're going to put people under house arrest for like making out and groping boobs and ass and like just like dry humping each other on a flight. I guess that's like a legal, I don't know, maybe there's like a legal thing. There's like, I don't know what it is in New Zealand. Okay, but here in the US, let's juxtapose this to the US. A man is facing federal charges after allegedly exposing himself several times on a Southwest flight. Not one time, several times.
Huh.
Antonio McGarity.
That's the eggplant.
The eggplant. Here's the eggplant. Antonio Sherrod McGarity was arrested by Phoenix Police Department after his Southwest Airlines flight landed at Sky Harbor International Airport, a very lovely airport, by the way, according to the criminal complaint. During the 3-hour flight, Mr. McGarity allegedly pulled down his pants and masturbated in front of a female passenger at least 4 times. 4. Not 1, not 2, 4. 4 times he did it. In a 3-hour flight, mind you. I don't know if I should be impressed or thoroughly disgusted. Mr. McGarity was seated in seat 11F, and the female witness was seated in 11E, the complaint states. Shortly after taking off, and while the aircraft was in the air, Mr. McGarity exposed his penis by pulling down his pants and shorts and began masturbating. At some point during the flight, Mr. McGarity fell asleep, and the female witness got up and advised the flight crew about the incident, as the complaint says, noting that the woman took photos of Mr. McGarity. Quote, she was moved to another seat on the aircraft. When the flight landed at Phoenix, the woman was questioned by officers from Phoenix PD, while McGarity was questioned by FBI. McGarity admitted to the actions, telling law enforcement that he knew the woman could see him, but claims she put her hands in the air and told him it doesn't matter if he masturbates, which he thought was, quote, kind of kinky, according to the documents. McGarity is now facing charges for lewd, indecent, or obscene acts on an aircraft, he faces up to 90 days in prison and or a $500 fine. Southwest later revealed that Mr. McGarity has received a lifetime ban from flying on Southwest. Quote, on April 2nd, crew members received a report of inappropriate behavior during a flight from Seattle to Phoenix. Upon learning of the event, the crew immediately responded to the incident and reseated the reporting passenger for the remainder of the flight. The captain also requested that law enforcement meet the aircraft upon arrival. We immediately placed the passenger who exhibited the LEWD behavior on our no-fly list, resulting in a lifetime ban from traveling on Southwest Airlines. Okay, so he, I don't know where he's at on this. He might have to go to jail for a few months and face a couple $100 fine.
Well, he should. I mean, the guy's a pervert.
This is so disgusting.
I mean, seriously,
he thought it was kinky that the lady next to him. There's no lady. No strange. Look, I'm the strange lady on the flight, right? On no parallel universe anywhere, no plane of existence, that if some rando weirdo sitting next to me on a plane is like, "Hey, you mind if I start, whacking one off next to you?"
Mind if I play with my eggplant?
It doesn't matter. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter. I'm going to say, "What the fuck? No!" And I'm going to hit the call button and call the flight attendant and be like, "What the fuck? Get this pervert out of here!" No, there is no way in hell that woman was going to be like, hands in the air and be like, "It doesn't matter." There's zero chance that happened. But I'm curious to know why the woman sat there and took pictures instead of jumping up immediately to be like, "Oh my God."
I can tell you most likely, because this is something that my wife would have done, something that Kizzy would have done. And by the way, we're also on Rumble's splash page. So obviously people on Rumble liked my little religious rant. So thank y'all for those of you who
the rant, or do they like
the
do they like the eggplant?
Well, the eggplants just got started, and we did the rant for a solid 20 minutes, which I do apologize for getting us banned off of YouTube if that happens. But anyway, as far as
so disgusting,
yeah, but no, I can guarantee you, if some of this is going on, Kizzy would have took pictures for the sole purpose of sitting at the customer service, say, "Hey, listen, on y'all's flight, this is what I was going on with. This isn't my word against theirs. This isn't me just trying to be." Trying to get out paying a fare. This dude is choking his chicken right here across from me, and this is unacceptable. So most likely, she probably did it just to have some kind of photographic proof, because a lot of times you can't get refunds on these tickets, right? Especially after you redeemed it. And so I could see that as being why that they did it. Say, "Hey, listen, this is what's going on. This is the issue. This is what's going on with your airline." And if you want to take it a step further, what you could do is go and then just start posting reviews on social media and stuff, and just get a formal apology, maybe even free lifetime tickets.
I know.
I could see it happening.
That is a good point. I don't know what the follow-up. I don't know if there is a follow-up. I wonder what the female passenger, what her complaint looks like, and if she.
Oh, I'm sure we can find it. I'm sure we can find it.
Oh my God, Phoenix Sky Harbor. What a disgusting, oh God, it's just, people are disgusting. Robby, I gotta tell you, I only hear about these weird, over PDA, groping and macking down and whatever, only in Western countries. When I fly in Eastern countries, I never, ever hear of anything like this, where people are whipping out their dongs, where titties are flying out and babies are no one's doing that. There's no sense of decorum in Western culture anymore, where people respect other people.
You need to go on Reddit more. So if you go on Reddit, for example,
I would just talk to Ted about this, and where I was like, no, I go on, if I there's whatever, if there's a link shared because I need to find out about one particular thing, I might go to Reddit. I won't go to Reddit because it's going to be.
Well, that's what I was saying, because though one of the things I like to do whenever I'm out, trying to find stories and stuff for the show, I'll go to Reddit, so people are talking about, see what's trending, and try and go and find stuff. Well, I went into a Reddit about Japan. So, okay, seems like a nice thing to do. There are thousands of people in Japan, evidently, they don't have babies, but what they do, however, is masturbate and do sex acts on the trains. It's all over Reddit. We just don't hear about it here. So it's there. It's just whatever reason the Japanese they have their own little like they film themselves
like in their seat though.
Yes, pulling the girls pulling down their shirts, flashing people or fingering themselves, just right there on the subway. Yeah, they do it. It's all over the place. We just don't hear about it. No, it's there. So this is not a uniquely Western thing.
So you think all of society has just gotten disgusting
it's just decadent. I think that what it is, I think
this is the fall of Rome.
Well, yeah, it's just hedonism, right? Because if you live in a society and you just feel that is hopeless, that you can't, you can never exceed what your parents have done, and eat, sleep, and party, because tomorrow you're going to die anyway. And
what, you whip out your schlong?
Yeah, or if you're a girl, you start fingering yourself right there on the subway. I mean, it's there. It's just it's just hedonism. It's there, Manila.
So all mass transit. So we're getting stabbed in the neck. We're getting pushed off of platforms. We're having the stranger sitting next to us fondle themselves.
Yeah.
While you have a child sitting next to you on the other seat. You have a weirdo fondling himself right there on the other side of you. So this is why I now avoid.
But that's why y'all hear. But to your point, not only do you avoid mass transit, you also avoid social media. So that's why you think this is only a Western phenomenon. It's not. I mean, I don't want
any part of it anymore. I don't like it. I'm no prude. Okay. But
I don't think that
behind closed doors.
Well, I don't think that you'd start using an eggplant in your seat on a subway either.
Look, I just feel like PDA, for example, is not in Eastern culture, which obviously I'm half and half, right? I was born and raised in the US, but I grew up in an Eastern culture household where PDA is not like, that's something for you do at home. You don't like more than holding hands or maybe a little peck or a little small kiss, but you're not like blah, blah, like swapping spit in front of everybody else. That's just not proper manners.
Well, decorum is just falling down, couple, right? I mean, there's no manners. It's just there's no manners anymore. Decorum is falling apart. Social norms are kind of imploding. I kid you not. No, whenever I said eat, sleep, and be merry, for tomorrow we die. I mean, that is the mentality of so many countries, in the West, and I count Japan as a Western country, even though geographically it's in the East. Same thing as South Korea. It's just the populations are sad. That's why they don't have babies. Happy societies have babies. Sad ones don't. And so they just go through, they just act out and just try and get whatever kind of carnal pleasure they're able to get now, because there's no future, right? That's why you don't have kids. Disgusting. If you don't think there's a future, you don't get married and have kids.
Disgusting.
I mean, that's what this is.
To do that, like just to do that. Yeah, it's just, look, I'm just going to quote the great American philosopher, the African-American philosopher, Ludacris. She needs to be a lady in the street, but a freak in the sheets.
Yeah, I don't know who Ludacris is, but that sounds accurate.
Oh, Robby, he doesn't know who Ludacris is. Everybody listening knows. Luda, the great philosopher and actor, says.
So Ludacris,
lady in the street.
It's a rapper.
In the sheets.
Okay, yeah, no wonder I know who that was.
Yes.
I thought you were saying Ludacris. It's like, who the hell? What?
No, it's because
Okay.
he spells his name LUDACRIS, ludicrous.
Hey, I learned something new. See, you get you get too much information on the TMI show.
She need to be a lady in the street, but a freak in the sheets. So that's ludicrous. And
Fair
that's
enough.
basically like how a girl should at least remember if you're,
Yeah.
act
Well,
like
I
a lady
mean,
out there
yeah, but people are talking about
and save that for
I mean, it's just it's
when you
crazy,
get a
right? I
ring on
mean,
it.
well, I mean, if you're going to do that kind of stuff, don't do it in public. No, seriously, nobody
Yeah.
wants to see that.
Nobody wants to see it. Trust me. Nobody wants to see it. A little like sure, hand holding, a little kissing your loved one, fine. But nobody, trust
It's
me,
just
nobody. I don't care how hot you are. I don't even care if you're built like, Pam Anderson in 1996. I don't care if you look like that. Nobody, at the end of the day, nobody actually wants to see your ass or your dong or whatever while they're sitting at the park, eating a sandwich.
well,
Nobody,
if
nobody
you're going
wants
to do
to
that
see
kind
that.
if you're going to do that kind of stuff, at least get paid for it. Set yourself set yourself
That's
up a little
true.
studio and make yourself an OnlyFans account. Have fun,
That's
enjoy.
true.
Don't give it away for free. Make
That's
some money.
true.
That can be your side hustle. My side
Listen to
hustle is
Big Daddy over
podcasts.
here.
My side hustle is podcast, video editing, and also a gaming channel. If you want to if you want to go
Yeah,
show the world what you got,
it's true.
by all means
If
do
you
it.
enjoy having other people looking at you in public while you're making out or fondling your partner, just one step away, put a camera in front of you, and then you'll make money off of it. And then that way, the people that want to look at you will look at you, whereas
They'll
the
pay you
rest
for
of
it.
us are shielding our children's eyes because you whipped out your dong on a flight from Seattle to Phoenix.
Yeah. It's a shame it wasn't a Boeing flight because that'd been a good time for a door to fall off the hinges or something to suck that dude right on
Sucked,
out.
yeah. Get something sucked. All right, I'm leaving. I'm leaving
For
that there.
sure.
That's it. I'm leaving that right there. Okay.
See, Robby
All
have a
right.
heart attack if he went to lakes in Germany or Austria in the summer. No, I wouldn't. I mean, Adrian, I'm not a prude. I mean, listen, I like women. I am a I am a red-blooded heterosexual male. There is nothing in this world more beautiful than a woman. Period. There's nothing more gorgeous than a woman. I have no problem with nudity. I don't care. So I mean, I'm not a prude. I'm not a Puritan, for God's sake. I'm a guy. Okay, I like boobs. I married a black woman for a reason. She's got a rack and she's got an ass. So I'm just being honest here. Okay. That being said, there's a time and a place for everything. If you're in a steel tube with a captive audience, potentially where there's little kids are going to be, that's not the place for it. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. If you want to go to a nudist beach or whatever, or just go and give yourself HIV, by sleeping around, hey, more power to you. I'm very libertarian in this kind of stuff. All I'm saying is there's a time and a place for everything.
Public. Yeah. Just not in public. I just feel like you need to be respectful. Like in Asian culture, I was always taught, especially like how I'm going to behave. Like, let's say when I was younger in my 20s, how I'm going to behave with my boyfriend when I'm around my grandparents, right? If he comes with me to a family dinner or whatever, is not going to be how I behave with my boyfriend in front of my friends when we're out at the bar.
Well, you mean you're not going to give him a blowjob right there in front of Granny?
No. Or at the bar even. But
what kind
of feminist are you? You're not going to, I'm not a feminist. You're not going to behave the same in front of, like, you just don't do that. But the problem is, I think, but look, again, in Asian culture, there's a hierarchy, right? So if you're like a grandparent, you're like at the highest rung of the totem pole. And if you're the grandkid, you're like at the bottom, right? Mm-hmm. It's kind of like an age and rank thing. Like you still have to bow as you walk by. Like that's like your head should never be above theirs, basically. Like as you're walking by, like to show respect. That's how I was raised. So I'm not going to be swapping spit and checking my husband's tonsils when I see other old people. I don't have any more grandparents. They're all passed away. But when I'm around old people, let's say my in-laws, We're
Right.
not going to be making out. Like we're married. Like we are married. Like he's my husband, and we're still not going to be.
I mean, I've
I'm
been to
not going to be
churches.
putting my hands down his pants in front of my in-laws. Like that's disgusting. Like why would you behave like that?
No, I've gone to some of these little weak-kneed, so-called Christian churches where there'll be women coming in with enough cleavage showing that looks like their tits are about to fall out right there in the sanctuary. The preacher should have went and said,
"Trying to find a husband, Robbie. They're trying to find a husband at church."
"Well, then what you do
Hello.
is that you dress modestly because nobody wants a whore." So if the pastors were actually men, what they would have done said, "Hey, I'm glad that you're here. Go home, come back when you put on something appropriate because we're here to worship. This is a church, not a strip club." So there's a time and a place for everything.
I agree. And I just feel like most of modern cultures, I guess all around the world, because I noticed this too with like the younger Asian kids in my family, they are not as they don't heed those cultural expectations the same way I did. So, it's generational and they're getting further and further away from the Eastern culture and more like, remember, my parents are fobs. I was the first American born in my entire family. So I was more closely rooted to like Eastern ethics, if you will.
Yep.
So now we're several generations here. The kids are not behaving that way. So
Yep. You should really talk to Thomas and my little adopted white boy son, Sam, because they're gonna have some interesting takes for you. I think that there is.
I'm down to talk to. I want like.
I think there's hope for the next generation.
Hope. Okay. We are planning a Rumble Premium episode to have a generational talk with Gen Zers.
Yep.
Because
if y'all think I'm radical, you haven't seen Thomas yet. That kid, he is off the chain.
In case you guys don't know, the Gen Zers are taking a hard right turn. And it's not just Robbie's kid. It's truly like it is
generational.
It is a weird generational shift. And Robbie's kid is not just because his dad is a right winger. It's his generation. I don't know how to explain it. You guys got to look at the polls. So one of our Rumble Premiums this month is going to be talking to 2 teenagers about how they view the world, the future, society, and what they think. And look, Robbie and I are Gen X. These are Gen Zs. Like these are, they're 2 generations removed. So let's see what they have to say. Like I have some thoughts, obviously. So that'll be an interesting one. But anyway, we'll leave that there. Thank you guys for tuning in Thursday. I will apologize and put up a warning sign. I'll make a warning sign before Robbie opens his mouth.
Probably a good idea.
Thanks for tuning in, guys. We'll see you tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern. Ted is still, I think, going to be wafting away on a hot air balloon. And then no show on Monday because everybody's got like appointments and medical stuff. And
well, it's also the fake holiday because October 12th is the greatest American holiday, which is Columbus Day. But now why is it American
though? He's not American.
Well, because because we used to have that big old statue of him there in Philadelphia and stuff. Like, no, he was.
He's not even American.
It doesn't. Well, he was Italian, but he discovered the new world. Christopher Columbus is based. That's one of the things we need to do is have another premium episode about our most controversial heroes. I'm going to tell y'all right now my top 3: Christopher Columbus, Robert E. Lee, and Andrew Jackson.
I know. We'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Eastern time. I got some throat spray here that I got to get to.
Get some coffee.
No, not coffee. It's throat spray because it's like numbing. Like it's
no,
like,
I need coffee because I started working at 4:00 this morning because I'm having to deal with this asshole of a boss of mine.
Oh, good Lord. Guys, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Adios, amigos. Bye.
Bye, y'all.